What's good, y'all? It's your guy, Kyle. Welcome back to my channel. Make sure you subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and do all that stuff. Really helps me out, so, help me reach that goal. And today we're going to be talking about the Portland Trailblazers and just how I think life is going to be after the Damian Lillard trade and just the amount of, young talent that they've acquired and how I think it's going to look, moving forward. So when you're talking about the Portland Trailblazers, obviously, you have to begin the conversation by talking about Scoot Henderson. Scoot Henderson was the number 3 overall pick to Portland, and it was really a miracle that they fell to him because, throughout that whole draft process, throughout the whole draft cycle, he was always the number 2 behind Wemby. And Charlotte took Brandon Miller, and that opened up the floodgates for Portland to be able to take Scoot Henderson. And Scoot Henderson is just an insane athlete, crazy strength, crazy speed, has a really great handle, can shoot the ball. And the reason I love Scoot Henderson's game is because he has so much rim pressure. And if you watch basketball a lot, getting to the rim is one of the best things you can do for an offense because that opens up so many passing avenues, and it just opens up, some much easier looks. So when you get to the rim a lot, that's going to help you, and that's going to help your team out a lot as well. And Scoot Henderson, I think, is going to be, if not the rookie of the year, because Wemby and Chet, they're obviously going to be, in contention for that. But I definitely think he's going to be one of the top rookies. And I think immediately in the NBA, he's going to be a positive guy. And, just with, his passing prowess, he can shoot the mid-range. He has, he can operate in the pick and roll. He has a lot of counters to a lot of different defenses. I think that Scoot Henderson is going to be really good in the NBA, and I think he's going to be really great for Portland moving forward. And it's so great that you can replace a guy like Damian Lillard. Well, I can't say replace Damian Lillard because you can't really replace a guy like that. But for you to transition from, a decade plus of Damian Lillard as a point guard to now having Scoot Henderson for the foreseeable future, that's really, really great. And I think that's a really great thing that Portland was able to pull off. And another great thing they pulled off, and as they did the Damian Lillard trade, they were able to get DeAndre Ayton from the Phoenix Suns. And DeAndre Ayton, he was number 1 overall pick, I think, in 2018. And he hasn't been number 1 overall pick, I don't want to say number 1 overall pick worthy, because he's still been a good player in the NBA. It's clear that he's really strong going to the basket. He has a great post game. He has a great midi game. He's not the best defender, but he's a pretty solid one, I would say. And I really like DeAndre Ayton, creation game. He has really, really soft touch around the rim, really, really soft touch in the mid-range. And I think on a team like this, because he was always playing with a bunch of guys who needed the ball more than him. Chris Paul was always setting the table. Devin Booker had to get his touches. Even at times, Mikal Bridges, Kevin Durant, just a lot of guys who had to get the ball before him. And I think that kind of stunted his growth and stunted his production. So I think on a team like this, when, you're in Portland, he's obviously going to be their best player. He's going to be the guy to demand a lot of touches, to demand a lot of shots. He's obviously happy to be there. So I think this is a great change of scene needed for him. And I think Portland being able to get their big man for the future is also great as well, because Scoot Henderson and DeAndre Ayton being a pick and roll duo for the next decade plus, that's going to be really strong. DeAndre Ayton, like I said, can shoot the mid-range. He's a great screen setter. He did a lot of work with, Chris Paul, Devin Booker. He's really great at those things. He's really great at the traditional big man stuff while also having an outside jump shot. One thing to keep your eye on is if he's going to develop that three-point shot. He's not, completely adverse to taking them, but he doesn't take them a lot. But I think in Portland, with Chauncey Billups as the coach, he's probably going to get encouraged to expand his game, especially with more opportunities on the table. So I think if he can, develop that three-point shot, let's say to maybe 34% this year, I think that'd be a really strong, well-rounded big man. And I'm really excited to see DeAndre Ayton in Portland. And they also have other young guards. They have Anthony Simons. They have Shanion Sharp. And Anthony Simons, he is a really, really great creator, I feel like. But he's not super great at going to the rim. He's obviously an outstanding shooter. So I think that's really important to have next to Scoot Henderson and as an option for DeAndre Ayton to, kick out to on post-ups. So I think, Anthony Simons is going to be a really good guard. I don't think he's going to ever be a good defender like that. So I think it's really important that you have guys who can kind of bolster the defense in the backcourt next to Anthony Simons. But as far as offensive creation goes, really strong handle, really fast first step. He is, he's twitchy with his handle, really shifty. I really love the way that he can just create space on the step backs. It's clear that Damian Lillard obviously passed down, some of the offensive, steps and tips to him. Because when you look at his step back, when you look at the range he has, it's clear that Anthony Simons is a really, really special shooter. And if I can just see him, get to the paint more, because he obviously has the speed, but he's not so strong to where he can just move guys out of the way, bump guys on the way to the rim, finish through contact a lot. But as far as shooting goes, he's great. As far as creating a jump shot, he's really, really great. And I think that having Scoot and Anthony Simons as your backcourt for the next, couple of years, really, really strong, as far as the rebuild goes. And they also got Shadion Sharp, who's extremely athletic and jump out of the gym. It's really good that they took a chance on him in the draft, because a guy like that to have a transition with guys who can throw it ahead, like DeAndre Ayton, like Scoot Henderson, and like Anthony Simons, to have a guy like that to be able to fly up and down in transition, an easy lob threat, an easy, guy who can attack off the catch. When you have guys like Scoot Henderson who are probably going to, create advantages in the future, when you have a guy like DeAndre Ayton who's going to create advantages in the future, and Anthony Simons who's going to create advantages in the future, that opens things up for guys who are maybe not as good as creators as those guys, but really athletic and really fast. They can attack off the catch. So Shadion Sharp can, go in stampede cuts. Maybe he can do little curls around DeAndre Ayton. There's just so many ways that you can work an athletic guy into the offense. And if Shadion Sharp, if he develops his own jump shot, because he's not really that strong of a shooter, but he's really good at getting to the rim. He's really athletic. He is the one who can finish through contact. He's the one who jumps out of the gym. So that's just a really great, kind of solid young core to have. And I feel like that's a better young core than a lot of teams have in the league. And if you were going to tell me that they were going to start their rebuild off with Scoot Henderson, with DeAndre Ayton, with Anthony Simons, Shadion Sharp, that's really, really strong. And then they got, nice little veteran pieces back in the deal. They got Malcolm Brogdon back. They got Robert Williams back, who I think is going to be, kind of part of a double big lineup with DeAndre Ayton. And I think that could be really strong, because DeAndre Ayton, he can space the floor a little bit. Robert Williams, he can't quite shoot the mid-range yet, but we've seen him attempt a lot in the past. And it's clear that there's some potential there. So if they can just work through that, that'd be really good. But to have DeAndre Ayton and Robert Williams as your defensive front court, I think it's going to be really strong. And I think having Robert Williams there is going to help DeAndre Ayton, because, some of the rebound troubles that he's had in the past. So I just think they have a really well-rounded lineup. And I think it's going to be really great for Scoot's development, because when you try and throw, new NBA guards just into the fire, and you don't give them a lot of help on offense, not a lot of help, but you don't give them really any help at all, it makes it really hard for them, and it makes it easier for them to, kind of struggle. So I think that, the Portland GM has done a really great job surrounding Scoot Henderson with a bunch of talent, to where he doesn't have to be the end-all, be-all guy. Like, it's either Scoot has a good game or they lose. He has a lot of help, and he has a lot of guys who can kind of just make things a lot easier for him. And I really like the direction they're headed in on this rebuild. And with a guy like Malcolm Brogdon, veteran presence, who can, play make, he can shoot, he can, dribble, he can get to the rim a little bit. So I just really like I really like all the moves that Portland has made, up to this point. And I really think that they're starting out their rebuild really, really strong. I think they got a really strong core, and I can't wait to see them play this year. So if you stayed in this video, thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.